Now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. Sorry. Okay. Welcome to MEPN, or namely known as Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus. This is our 7th series of webinar, and then with SHRDC, this is our 4th webinar sessions. So I'm Mazlina, Program Manager from Malaysia Productivity Corporation. MEPN actually was set up as one of the 9 productivity nexus under the Malaysia Productivity Blueprint introduced in May 2017. The main purpose of the productivity nexus is to drive the implementation of the initiative in close partnership with the government. And Engineering Industries in the Federation or MEIF has been tasked to champion MEPN on behalf of the machinery and equipment industry to uplift the sectoral productivity. Today, our webinar title is Overall Equipment Effectiveness for Smart Manufacturing. So with us today is Dr. Tan, Mr. Loong, and also Dr. Chua as a moderator for the today's sessions. So without further delay, I would like to pass our session to Dr. Chua to moderate the session. Dr. Chua, please welcome.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the webinar organized in collaboration with MPC, MEPN, and SHRDC. Thank you very much for being here this morning. I understand that today is actually a public holiday, and it's very grateful that everyone is here this morning to attend our webinar to actually have a view of what our speakers have to share today. So we have 2 speakers this morning. One is IR Dr. Tan Chee, and also Mr. Loong Leong. So the first speaker for the day will be IR Dr. Tan, and so I will introduce him before we start the session for today. So IR Dr. Tan Chee has more than 20 years of working experience in the industry. He is currently the Vice President of MSM International Limited and also the Chief Technology Director of Robolab Technologies in Europe. He is currently a member of the ISO IEC Smart Manufacturing Task Force and the Vice President of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia. His professional experience and key expertise are in the areas of advanced manufacturing systems, automation and robotics, and also engineering education. So without further ado, let's welcome IR Dr. Tan Chee to present his session this morning. IR Dr. Tan.
Okay, a very good morning and happy holiday. Happy Vesak for those who celebrate the Vesak Day for today. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Maslina from MPC as well as Dr. Chua as a moderator for this webinar. And then I would like to thank you as well, MPC, MEPN, and SHRDC, who are the organizers for this event. So, okay, today we would like to share about the overall equipment effectiveness. In a short form, we call it as an OEE. OEE term is quite common now, especially most of the company, right? Especially SME, would like to try about the industry 4. They will start with this first. So today I would like to give you some idea and some introduction about the OEE brief, as well as give you some idea about the mindset thing. Why you need this, right? Okay. Wait. Sorry. Okay. First of all, I show us a quote from Robert Schiller. So he said that you cannot wait until a house burns down to buy fire insurance on it. We cannot wait until there are massive dislocations in our society to prepare for the 4th industrial revolution. It means that we need to prepare for it. always prepare before it's come. Then you are not prepared, then you are losing away. Okay, this is a quote from Robert Shiller. He's a Nobel laureate in economics and professor of economics from Yale University, US. So I think you're familiar with this fourth industrial revolution, right? Okay, from first, second, third, and fourth. Okay, every industrial revolution, there's certain things that are happening, especially the technology advancement. Okay, like from first mechanical wind or become electrical, then controller, computer. Okay, then now because of the what internet. Okay, the communication is very advanced. The telco is very advanced. So in terms of the management, right, we also look at the management. Okay, from the principle of scientific management to solve the problem in the company, in the factory, in the process. Okay, there are a lot of theory coming like TQM and Toyota method, etc. Okay, but now they're looking at what Lean and Six Sigma because they want to try to get as much of profit as possible. Okay, in terms of the price, right? How to cut down, how to save a lot of money. So this is something keep in mind, Lean and Six Sigma. If you are watching the previous MPC, MEPN webinar, right? Especially the second one, the speaker talking about the Lean management. He already mentioned whatever technology before technology to come in, right? You must start with something to deal with what actually happened in your factory, in process line. Okay, if you unable to solve the problem, then you use the technology to come in, like software and hardware. Try to optimize, try to reduce the cost. So for Industry 4.0 solution include just a general introduction. First, interoperability, where the machine, devices, hardware, software, sensors, actuators, all interconnected and communicate with each other. It's very ideal. Machine to machine talk, human to machine. Okay, it's what happened for this Industry 4.0, interoperability. Secondly, is a transparency of information. Okay, last time maybe we think that human is the one who we depend on human, right? We depend on the operator, the supervisor, to feed us the information. Okay, but of course, when human feed back the information, right? The accuracy of the information not high enough. Okay, or maybe some hanky-panky behind the data that feed to the owner, okay, to a PIC. So for this Industry 4.0, it's really make the information transparent, okay, naked. Okay, we know what actually happened in the shop floor. Of course, to get this kind of level, you need a lot of technology, okay, to embed it to the machine or retrofitting the old machine and etc. Thirdly, okay, the ideal way for Industry 4 is to decentralize the decision making. Okay, they cut off a lot of red tape, a lot of level, okay, for the decision making. They cut a lot of time. Okay, this is where the cyber physical system, okay, to make a simple decision on their own, okay, and becomes autonomous as possible, right? To cut red tape, to cut a lot of time in terms of the decision making. Lastly, is a technical assistant. Okay, it's about the ability of the systems to support humans in making decisions and solving problems, and the ability to assist humans with tasks that are too difficult or unsafe for human. Okay, this is what happened, right? Okay, too difficult, unsafe, or the human is too tired, because human itself themselves we can work at 7:24. Okay, 7:24 we can work like that. So we need something to support us. Okay, the company need a technical assistant in terms of to increase the productivity of the company. So as you know, Malaysia already launched the National Policy on Industry 4.0, okay, or short form we call it as Industry Forward, okay, since the 1st October 2018. Okay. I hope that you all really read through this policy, have some idea about this, what Malaysia is going to do for the industry. So for the industry forward, okay, for logo you can see that, right, that ABC, ACT, attract, create, and transform. But before this one, if you are familiar with the industry forward readiness assessment, or in this policy as well, there are 3 focus, okay, factors. First, people. Second, process. And thirdly, is a technology. Okay. People is about how you create and nurture more people to support the industry, towards the industry forward. Okay. You need to get the talent to support the industry. Okay. And then retraining, reskilling, and upgrading the skill of the worker. For technology, there's certain technology that enable the company towards the industry forward. Okay, for Malaysia industry forward policy, there are around 11 enablers technology, okay, that were reported in the policy. Process itself, how you use the technology, okay, to improve the process, to increase the productivity of the company. So these are 3 main factors: people, technology, process. Okay, it's a way towards the industry 4.0. Okay, this one is a comics cartoon to show you that you can see the Amazon, Uber, Microsoft, Google are in the oil platform, right? So what is this about? So the world's most valuable resource is no longer oil, but what? Data. Okay, data. We need data. Every day we use handphone. Okay, mobile handphone, right? Some of the friends, my friend, right, we have 2 handphones. What they want to do with the handphone? They use handphone for themselves, for personal matter, for official matter. Okay, they use a lot of apps behind. Now, during the MCO, I think most of the people, they like to go online for shopping using Shopee, Lazada, and Alibaba, Tmall, etc. A lot of data generated behind. They are captured by the owner, by the apps developer. For what purpose? To analyze what is the behavior of the consumer. Yeah, this is data for the retail industry. How about for the manufacturing industry as well? Manufacturing industry, right, in the process side, a lot of data is generated. Okay? Traditionally, they capture data in the manual form of way. Okay? People just record, okay, the data. Or the more advanced one, they're using the SCADA system, or they're using the PLC and SCADA system to capture data. A lot of data being generated, but are they doing something with the data, or just using the data to plot the graph and then that's all? Okay, but they're not really fully utilize the data for certain like the decision making purpose. So in the most of the factory, right, what we can see like this iceberg theory, right? We know about the cost of product. That's the visible cost. Okay, we know this product cost me 10 ringgit. But what's the hidden cost? Okay, it's what? Like the scrap waste, replacement cost, cost of the failure, waiting time, downtime, safety, customer perception, rework labor, as well as productivity and OEE. There's a hidden cost behind. And then all lump up to become a price for a product. So this kind of hidden cost is hard. It's very hard to predict in the traditional way. Okay. So we need to do what? To raise up this hidden cost for us to see, to know, right? To make more transparent, okay? More transparent for us to understand, to really look into the problem to solve it. This is also one of the methods used for the lean manufacturing, right? So for us to see, okay, ultimately we want to know what happened, what actually happened, then we try to solve the problem. Okay, so in the traditional or some of the company, right, the shop floor very massive. There are a lot of breakdown of the machinery, breakdown problem. Maybe the setup adjustment, wrong setup and wrong adjustment, or mis setup or mis adjustment of the machinery. And then small stop. Every time was a small stop, causing the delay. And then a small downtime. And then there are a lot of reduced speed problem. Okay? It should be run up to this speed. Why suddenly the speed slow down? Okay, reduce the speed. And then maybe the startup reject. Okay, not proper startup, not proper setting, and cause a startup reject of the machinery. As well as production reject. Okay, the setting is up, the misalignment of certain thing, right? And then causing the production reject due to the quality. Okay, not up to what we want, not up to what the size that we want, not up to the precision that we want, causing the rejection. And this all is about the cost. The time lost and the rework it costs a lot of money, right? And also the energy usage in the factory, all about the cost, as well as a lot of waste. When a lot of reject, some of the item where it cannot be recycled is a waste. If this is recycled, but the value of the material itself already dropped, then that becomes a waste. It becomes a loss to the company. So as management people or engineers, supervisor, so I think a lot of questions come into our mind, right? So normally, who causing the problem? Who is responsible? Normally we know who is responsible, but who is the actual person responsible? Who to involve? Okay, who to call? And then what happened? What actually happened to the machine? Why is always stopped? Why is always speed is not up to the level? Why the productivity is low? And then we need to ask ourselves, where does the problem come from? Which part of the is the problem? Which part is causing the problem? Okay, and then why has happened? Why this happened? Okay, why this happened to the section A, not section B? There are a lot of questions coming up. And then where is it happened? Right? And then how has it happened? This is a question. 5W1 hash is very common method, right? That we think about why, who, what, where, why, when, and how. So for this OEE, right, overall equipment effectiveness is interrelated to the total productive maintenance. So for this, there's some idea for you. TPM is about the zero unplanned downtime, zero defects, zero disruption. It means the company, the shop floor, have a very proper planning towards the maintenance of the production line. So it can be cut down a lot of downtime, cut down a lot of waste, maintain the quality of the product. So you can see the section. We have autonomous maintenance, planned maintenance, quality management, focus improvement, new equipment management, education training of the employees, safety, health, and environment have to take care. Yeah, and then administration. This is about the TPM, total productive maintenance. This TPM is a foundation for 5S methodology. I think some of the topic already covered in the previous MPC webinar as well. Okay, so I just set your mindset, what's the data, and then come what's happened in the shop floor, Okay, and then what's TPM, total productive maintenance. Okay, so coming to OEE. OEE is very straightforward, right? It's a formula for us to know about how effectiveness of the equipment, okay, of the shop floor. Okay, or in a very simple term, we want to know about the productivity of that machine, okay, or that equipment. So this OEE, we have three major factors, right? First, we look at the performance. Okay, the formula is just the actual run rate over the ideal run rate. Secondly, availability. Okay, it's about the operating time over the planned production time. Thirdly, is quality. Good pieces over total pieces. Okay, I think after my talk about this topic, right? I think Mr. Loong will continue about how to implement the OE in the production floor. Okay, please stay tuned. And then, yeah, OE can generate a lot of data, and we can plot a lot of graph. Okay, this graph for us to know about the useful the data that can do what? They can give us some idea. Okay, give the idea for the supervisor, manager, senior manager, and the top management about what to improve. Okay, where to improve, how to improve, what's the best method to improve. Okay, using the management way and maybe technological way to improve the process. It's a decision making as well. This data will feed to the management for the decision making. It's more precise decision making to cater the actual and right problem, right? And then it's a tool for planning. Of course, some people say that this OE actually is a KPI. Okay? If this machine I cannot achieve 100 pieces per hour, then there's something wrong there. Okay? KPI. Okay? But actual one is normally in positive thinking, right? Use for improvement, for decision and planning. Okay, it's not a sin to causing that. Hey, I implement OE because I want to monitor you. Okay, some people they think that hey, you put the OE for my machine, right? And then everything about the machine is exposed to you. So some people have this kind of negative thinking. Of course, we need to educate, okay, the person who in charge of the machine that this data, okay, being captured, okay, is useful for improvement purpose. We not to say that I want to monitor you 24 hours by 7 like that. Okay, whether you really keep the machine run in the proper way or not, or you keep the machine in up to standard. Okay, if the machine itself cannot achieve the number that we set, it means that you are lazy. You are not doing your job. Okay, there's some things, right? Besides that, we must make sure the operator for that machine, right, or supervisor for that the line, right, to understand we are not going to deal with causing the piracy issue, and then it's not a threat, okay, for you when we implement OE on that machine or on that process line. Okay, there's something need to be very clear, okay, so that they know about, oh, this data is used for what? Actually, not to monitor them whether they're doing their job or they're doing something else, right? Of course, in the previous time, right, normally people can manipulate the data. This is what happened in the actual, right? Because the data being recorded by human, there's a possibility the data being changed, okay, being edited. Okay, this is what happened. So there's a pro and con. But I think that is an advantage for implementation of OEs is a more advantage than the disadvantage itself. Okay, next one. This one I show you about the 11 enabling technologies that possible for this OEE. Okay, it's interrelated. So first one, I can say that data that capture from the machine, it can be used for analytics. Okay, besides the data can use for the plotting the graph, is can use for analytic purpose. Okay, it's one of the enable that integrated for this OE, big data analytics, and then AI. If the company already implement OE, okay, OE itself will not tell the management about what is happening, why is happening, right? Even though you can check the timeline, certain the machine being stopped for 2 minutes. Okay, it only can report the time that stop the machine is stopped for 2 minutes, but we don't know why it stopped for 2 minutes, right? Because the data is very straightforward. Okay, you can capture, but you don't know why. And normally you need to ask the operator, the technician who in charge, hey, why there's a 2 minute stop there? Okay, then you know why. Okay, but for the industry 4.0, right? You can capture the data and even analyze and even using the AI to understand, okay, why it is stopped for 2 minutes. It's something, okay, more upper level. There's some idea for you all. As well as when you can capture data, you can use a internal server, or your boss want to have information from his handful, right? Then you need to have a external, right? For this purpose, you need the cybersecurity to protect your company, okay? To avoid any cyber attack to your internal system as well as external. Okay, must think about it. Cybersecurity, and then simulation. The data can use for simulation. You capture data, the data can plot a graph, can simulate how it works. Okay, just like what those who use to the SCADA software, right? You can see the graph how it look like. You can simulate the thing, can move in here and there. Okay, and then Internet of Things IoT. Okay, the machine itself, if you want to go for OEE, yes, it's possible. Even the old machine is possible to go for the OEE. The only thing you need to think about how you're going to retrofitting the machine itself, the old machine. Okay, of course, the new machine is very easy, but the older machine, you need to retrofitting. I think the system integrator can do for you. No problem. Internet of Things is a very hot topic in this 2 or 3 years. So it's just embedded the sensors and then the controller and then the router itself. Okay, please look into this one to retrofit and then to capture data and to get the information from the OEE itself. Then the cloud computing. Okay, if you don't want to use your own server, and you have to use a cloud, compute your data, and then to capture and then to get what you want, okay, ultimately. And then automatic reality, it can be using automatic reality because why? When you capture data, OEE, right, you see that the OEE, the data, the result is not up to your what you want, right? Then this one is mainly for the training and maintenance purpose. AI can use for maintenance, can know about where's the problem, how to fix the problem, and then cut down a lot of time for maintenance and the repairing as well. And then, of course, lastly, I want to show you is the system integration. System integration is very important in the OEE implementation. We need to engage a good system integrator and to get what you want and to sustain the long-term collaboration between the company and the system integrator. Because for the industry 4.0, it's a journey. You need to plan for this journey and work with the right partner and good partner that can sustain the process development for 5 or 10 years. It's not a short time, it's a sustain for the long time. Okay. Okay. After the implementation of OEE, I think normally we know that we can visualize the health of the factory, right? We know that, hey, what's the health? Okay, just like us, how we know our health is good? It means that we need to go for the medical checkup. But for this OEE, at least something right, you know about what's the performance of your machinery. Then from there you know how to brand and do branding, right? And then how to improve. Okay. Normally we like to advise to all the factory owner and engineers. Please look into your process first. Improve the process by using a lot of lean manufacturing method. Like the second series of the MPC webinar, we talk about the lean, right? Yeah, you need the management and then administrative level have to think about the best way to try to improve, try to cut down, and try to solve the problem first before you engage the technology. Okay, this is something to think about, because I think most of the people like you all is very experienced in the industry. You use a lot of methods. Okay? TQM, Gemba, Kaizen way, right? And Pokayoke, for this method, try to improve. If you really cannot improve, and then the price very competitive, then think about how technology can really improve it. Okay? You also can buy a new machine, but before you buy the new machine, you think about, can I further improve what we have now? Okay, the existing machine before we are having a new investment. It's something to think about it. And then, of course, we can investment decision, right? Whether want to improve by checking the more money to improve the current process, okay, to go for the upgrading purpose, okay, before buying the new machine. Okay, sometimes some thinking of the owner, right? They thinking about if the productivity not up to level, they can buy more machine to support. If you cannot, for me, right, you cannot solve the root cause of the problem, right? The more machine you buy, the more problem you are having. This is something to think about, right? And then it creates improvement that makes the difference. Okay, you can achieve the productivity, better productivity. Okay, that's what we some of the webinar MPC webinar as well. If you watch the webinar about the MEPN equipment, right, it's organized by MEPN. Equipment, with the 15% workforce, they can achieve 75 to 78% of productivity. How they do it? It happens just at the first phase of the MCO. How they do it? The employee themselves, they have a lot of innovation idea. Okay, to really push for it. Push for the existing automation process system, right, to achieve the 75 to 78% of productivity at the MCO time. This is very impressive. Okay, for me, maybe you can get more information from MPC about this. What happened to MEPN, how they achieve it. I think it's very good to share with people like you all. To public, right? And lastly, I have some quote from Charles Darwin. It means that we need to be responsive to change. Okay, then the company and ourselves as well can survive and sustain. Everything we talk about for sustainable development, not only for environment, but also for the company. Okay, so we need to change, respond to change. Okay, not to say, of course, normally people will not think about want to change. It's a normal. You look at the survey, 90%, I think 99% people, they prefer status quo. They're not willing to change. From the top management to the lower level, it's like that. Okay, the change from where? The change must start from the top management first. They need to really understand how the process, method, as well as the technology really can assist the company, okay, to solve the problem of the company and to sustain the company growth, okay, for next 5 and 10 years. As you know, during this Industry 4.0, fourth industrial revolution, a lot of disruptive business model and technology coming is really hit a lot, especially for the traditional business model company, right? So as a forward-thinking people, right, we need to think about the change. Okay, I think MPC and then the government agency under the MIPI, right, especially MPC, they did a lot of effort to promote the productivity through the webinar and through the a lot of sections of webinar, and not only the webinar but also the consultative services to assist the SME like you and me to improve the productivity through the method, through the management method, and as well as the technology method. Okay, it's a very good ecosystem. So we need to think about what we should do next. Okay, please always liaise with the NPC for further information about any question, any queries from Leong. I think they're willing to assist you. So next one is to please think about start your journey. Okay, I think some of you maybe heard a lot of some people, yeah, maybe implement this and that, right? But for yourselves, think about put your first step in front. Okay, start your journey. Okay, without starting your journey, you never know what, how good the technology or how good the method, the process, or software or either hardware really can improve and solve a lot of problems. Because we want to sit well, right? That's why we need something to really support us. Okay, I think next one, maybe Mr. Loong can share better with you how he started the journey now. So of course, before that, I wanted to do some advertisement. So under the MPC, MEF, and MEPN, the three party, there's joint event about the we call it a machinery and equipment productivity nexus MEPN virtual advisory clinic. Those who are interested, please step the QR code or contact the MPC secretariat to join about this program. So this one is more to one-to-one online consultation, normally to support the SME in the ME industry in rebuilding business due to the adverse impact of COVID-19. There are a team of advisors that will conduct the one-to-one for any applicant within 1 hour. They're sharing something and then try to solve the problem within 1 hour. Of course, 1 hour is not enough, but we try our best and give some idea for the applicant about how they going to solve certain problem that under the limitation. Okay, so please feel free, and then please feel free to contact the NPC staff or step the QR code to join this virtual advisory clinic. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening. Thank you. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tan, for the very inspiring presentation. I believe that most of the viewers would really appreciate, especially the iceberg theory. I think that's very, very interesting for many people to understand that there are a lot of underlying hidden costs involved in terms of their productivity journey. So without further ado, let me introduce our next speaker for today, Mr. Loong Kim Leong, who will be speaking next. So Mr. Loong has more than 20 years of experience in manufacturing operations, covering many aspects such as operations management, production planning and control, machine and facility maintenance, and also quality management. He is the Senior General Manager of New Hong Fatt Group of Companies, where he is responsible for metal manufacturing operations, which manufactures automotive replacement body parts, and also the design, development, and manufacturing of metal, stamping, tool, and dies. His tenure at NHF New Hong Fatt allowed him to learn, develop, and implement and experience lean manufacturing with the help of MPC, FMM, SHRDC, and also his Japanese counterparts and consultants. So without further ado, let me welcome Mr. Loong to share his slides for the morning. Mr. Loong? Hello, Mr. Loong? Hello, Mr. Loong. Mr. Loong, you are still muted on your mobile. Would you be able to unmute? Hello.
Yep, I've just unmuted. Thank you very much, Shan, for that pointer.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise,
Thank
it
you,
would
thank
have
you.
been a very boring half an hour. Okay.
All right.
So, good morning, attendees. Welcome to the seminar or the webinar. Thank you for taking time off, and also a good thank you and a big thank you to our organizers, MPC, SHRDC, and of course, thank you, Dr. Tan, for giving us a good insight and a comprehensive introduction to IR 4.0 and how OE comes into play. I'm going to go through. I'm here to share industry experience, so it's a little bit not as structured, but let's try to go on. Okay, Doctor, next slide, please. Okay, in this slide is a small introduction to the company so that you know the projects that I'm going to give as examples. What is the context is in. Okay, in this slide. Okay, in this slide, you will see that we actually manufacture and distribute many automotive part replacement parts. The next, please. You will see they are, Doctor, next slide, please. Next. Yep, okay, you'll see there are metal parts, and also next. And we have the plastic parts now. My primary role is actually managing the metal business, so that will include the tool and die manufacturing and also the part manufacturing. Hoong Fatt has been around for more than 40 years. We are located in Klang, occupying about 27 acres of land. For the metal operations, we take up about 12 acres, about half of it. And our businesses is 50% local and 50% export. So that gives us a good balance. Okay, all right, next please. Okay, first question is what is productivity? We have to pull you back to the 90s. In the 90s, that's when I started. Okay, so you can roughly gauge how old I am. Okay, in the 90s, I remember my general manager then, his favorite phrase was improve productivity. But then, improving productivity is such a big word. Where do we start? So then we don't have the services of Mr. Google. I believe they only started somewhere in the late 90s. So it was very tough for us to actually identify where and what to do. But again, industrial engineering came in. There was so much progress in that. And then people start to talk about efficiency. Next, please, Doctor. Next. Okay. People start to talk about efficiency and also effectiveness. Now, where is efficiency, effectiveness? Every value add or every manufacturing process, you will always have an input and an output. Efficiency talks about the front part, where you use as little as possible, try to save whatever you can, and effectiveness is the other end, we should talk about the output, maximize whatever you can maximize. Okay, this actually is in terms is what we call, or what we meant then as productivity. Next, please. In productivity, the general, it's always expressed as a ratio of output to an input, meaning example will be output per unit of input. So that is a good example. Now, but moving on, when these terms came up, there's a lot of research on productivity. And when we research productivity, there are new terms which are developed. Next, please. You have talking about downtime, which is actually availability. You also talk about cycle time. Next, please. Which translated now is performance. And you have a lot of talk about rejects. Next, please. So with all these three components in place, we finally are able to relate when we talk about productivity, where do we go? What do we look for? Next slide, please. This is a very standard OE chart. I think most of you would have seen. It breaks down what is the availability, then we talk about performance. Next, please. Small stops, idling, speed losses. We talk about startup rejects, production rejects. I think all of this, most of you all would have known this, so I will not linger too long on this one. But just a point here is, like what Dr. Tan said, availability is easy to measure when the machine is down, when you stop the machine for changeover. But the difficult one will be the performance, because every minute that the worker slows down for whatever reason, every 2 minutes that he goes to the toilet, those are all unrecorded. And hence it makes it difficult for us to actually further improve it. Okay, as an average, manufacturing plants run between 45 to 65% OE, but again, this is a very general number, and sometimes it can be a dangerous number because every industry is different, every machine is different, every industry in terms of sales demand is also different. There are mass production, there is batch production, there is mixed line. There's so many components inside, so we should take it with a pinch of salt. Okay, next please. Okay, now I'm going to come back to the company. Our journey in Lean. We were introduced in 2014. In 2014, we actually had a good introduction from MPC and FMM. And along the way, we had SHRDC come in. We had some Japanese counterparts. At one point, we had an in-house Japanese consultant to actually introduce to us. Now, what was good then? Next slide, please. Okay. What was good about then is we actually discussing among all the parties, getting information, getting input. We actually managed to establish a lean strategic map for ourselves. Now, this is very new to us. That was back in 2015. We had a map, but frankly, we had no time frame. That was because we weren't sure on what was going to happen. So we decided to take it one step at a time. What we knew was that actually there is only 3 steps and we need to get through the 3 steps. So next, please. So we start with step number 1. One more click. Yep, we start with step number 1, which are the fundamentals. Fundamentals, 5S, safety, standard and rules, PDCA. These are all standard fundamentals. Next, please. Okay, fundamentals start from the lean principles. The basic is always 5S, and then you have 8 ways, visual controls, value mapping, cellular, SMAT, more. Yep, TPM, and finally, you will talk about continuous improvement as a whole. But in step 1, we mainly focus on, next please, 5S. So this is our main focus in 5S. Now, 5S seems to be a very generic word, right? Everyone knows what 5S is, everyone is practicing 5S. But to really, truly appreciate 5S, you need to understand that by having good 5S, it means that you
Hello, Mr. Loong. You may need to unmute your speaker again. Sorry. Hello. Hello, Mr. Loong. Hello. Mr. Loong. Sorry. Hello, Mr. Loong. Hello, Mr. Loong. Mr. Loong, could you try now? Dr. Iza, can you help to unmute Mr. Loong? Sorry. Hello, Mr. Loong, can you try? Hello? Hello? Sorry guys, give us about 2 minutes. Let me try to fix this technical issue. Sorry. Hello,
Okay,
Mr.
I'm
Loong?
back.
All
Yep,
right,
I'm
great.
back this time.
Sorry
Okay.
everyone for the problem. Mr. Loong, please go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Okay, sorry, I was boring you about 5S, right? So anyway, I still need to go on about 5S. 5S is not basic, just picking up rubbish, throwing rubbish, but it's the concept of everything has its place and everything in its place. So the layout must be good. Everything has its own location. When you finish using it, put it back responsibly. It's talking about ergonomics, having things that you need to use daily around you, those that you need weekly, next area, and then those things that you need to be used weekly is put off-site. So these are little things that we need to get in order first, because we want to have a stable production before we can go to next step. So doctor, next step, next slide please. Okay, we have passed the first LPS introduction. That's where we did our strategic map. Then we move into fundamentals, and now we talk about process stability. Frankly, this is a very long step, as we talk about process improvements. We talk about the 7 ways, rejection, breakdown, and capacity. Next, please. Okay, back to this again, lean principles. What do we use in this step? Next, please. The major tools that will be used here is cellular layout, SMATs, stream mapping. We talk about the visual controls and standardized work. Next, please. Okay. Now we're going to move into examples already. The first example I would actually present is actually on value stream. Next. Okay. In this example, this was one of our first projects that we launched. We talked about if you look at the outcome was actually to increase the productivity of this area in terms of measure. Next slide, please. In terms of measure, we look at the output, because eventually output will create value for the company. So this is always our main outcome. But tie along in, we have other balance measures that we have. So we talk about OEE. OEE here is important because why? Next, please. Okay. Because OEE will actually lead us or tell us where issues will be. So in example, this one, we have found a big issue actually in the performance side and also changeover. If you look at this once we did that, we know that that is the cause of the area of issue. We did a work sampling. This work sampling was done every 8 minutes for a period of 2.5 days. That's why you collected about 200 over data. Technically or theoretically, work sampling requires 300 data, but after 200 data, we more or less saw a trend. So actually we stopped here. So by doing this one, we can identify the specific area where we can tackle. So instead of doing general rules, we can be more specific. Next, please. Okay, the objective of this, of course, value added, we will keep, but we will try to improve that. If it's a non-value added NVA, we will eliminate or remove it. And if it's necessary NVA, example, inspection, some bits of rework, then we will try to reduce it. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is a before. Before we actually did any improvement, we took some measurements. So we can see that the value added is the percentage before, and necessary, the NNVA, and also, of course, the NVA. We actually tag a target to it. How we come upon this target? Well, it's sort of like a guesser. We go through what is needed, and then if we can, then we will reduce it further. but the target has always been a good guide for us. Next, please. Now, I'm going to show you the result. So the after, you can see some failed, some passed, some show very good results. Example, like changing palette from a 7.8, 8.6, you can actually bring it down to around 5. Preparation of parts, change over mold and die, waiting for parts, all these things are small improvements that we make that we can actually improve it. What small improvement? Change of pallets, we had Kaizens, we created a buffer and an alert system. Preparation of parts and changeover, we use the standard Uchi Soto, the offline, just separating the offline and online, using spiders, the people to come in to actually help in wherever necessary. We did a lot of time motion study. We did a lot of Yamazumi. Then we talk about workload ratios and so on. And waiting for parts. This is also another, I believe, was a good introduction from the Lean. We created a supermarket. Now, bear in mind, if we did not have the OEE indicator to tell us we struggled in the performance area, we would have focused on other things like easier to look at, data which is more defined, is like breakdowns. But when we look at it in more detail, performance actually created more hassle than the rest. So OEE did help us in this manner. Okay, next please. Okay, now from after that, we did another sampling to see what was the result. If you can see the results here, from 68% of value added, we have moved it to 82%. So I think that was quite a good result. Okay, move on next, please. This is the final measure of the project's outcome. Production pieces increased. OEE also improved. In the mere 5 months, we have already increased 6% higher than the previous year's 2018 year. So this project, my team was very successful. The team was good, and we managed to get through. Okay, let's go to the next subject, the next project, please. Okay, next project is more on availability and setup. Okay, next. Okay, this project, again, we depended on OEE to actually highlight and tell us which are the problem areas. And this was a very good project because from the OEE, we managed to see what was the low-hanging fruit. Focus on the changeovers. In this line, it is actually a very high mix line. In this line, there's about 30 changeovers. So if you actually improve on the changeover, you can actually save a lot of time. So that is what we focus on. But instead of using the SMAT, the single minute, we won't be able to do that. So we tried for single digit. That's why it's less than 10 minutes. Okay, next please. Okay, from the result here, you can see before we actually had 24.8. After 11.2 is short of our single digit. But with this, there was actually already a significant improvement already. Considering the changeovers that we have, we actually managed to save 9% just by focusing on changeover. It's 9% of our output. So this is actually, again, we deem as very successfully indicated from the OEE side. Okay, next please. Okay, that was 2 examples that we have. We are now in the step 3, where we talk about pool production systems versus certain pushes, and then just in time and small lot size. Production now is much more predictable. There are much less surprises, meaning that if we can target 1,000, we probably will get about 95%, if not higher. The workers, I think that is the most important. The workers, the supervisors, the engineers, managers, they are already introduced to Lean. Everything that they think Lean. We have not started small suggestion systems like Stayan yet, but this is probably one of the next few things that we need. Okay, but then again, as I mentioned earlier, step 3 here, it's going to be another difficult chapter. So we are going to have to plow on, and what else can we do to actually improve this? Okay, next please. Now, these are the benefits that we experience using OE. Of course, first, baselining and benchmarking. Benchmarking is among yourself. It's good for tracking of progress, knowing your current situation and how you can improve on the current situation. Second one is about pointing out causes and symptoms. OE has the ability to be able to tell you roughly where it is, but again, that's what it does only, to tell you where it is. After that, you will have to use all the lean tools to actually improve the situation. And of course, it's a good visual performance. It's something that everyone understands, something that the operator can see and say, okay, my performance is not good. Let's push it up. So because it can be a live data, then the worker can actually respond to it. Okay, next please. Okay, lessons learned. Okay, in lessons learned, throughout our years, we've made many mistakes and we have learned much. I think the first one is focusing on the score, not the losses. I think this one, particularly why I put it the first one. We started off on the wrong foot. We use OE as a KPI then. When you use a measure as a KPI, it doesn't translate well because there will be, like what Dr. Tan said earlier, people will think of easy ways to achieve it, shortcuts and so on. So by focusing on the score, it did not help us at all. When we reverted, we actually focused on the losses. We look at what are the losses, where are the losses come from. That was where the improvement came from. Second, we're talking about unrelated processes and plants. Okay, as you know, earlier I presented, we actually have metal and also plastic injection. We also made this mistake, comparing metal processes versus plastic injection. Big mistake, because plastic injection is just molding mostly. Pump in the plastic material and out comes the product. Metal, there are multiple processes. The BOM is probably 20, 30 steps. So to actually compare such different processes and products, it is not correct. It's not feasible. Engaging operators and stakeholders. This is also important. The person who can actually really tell you what's happening with the performance is actually the operator. No one else. So if you can get them to engage with some visualization, they know how they're performing, they will be able to highlight to you what are the issues that they face. Improvement OEE across the plant. Okay. This is very similar to talking about comparing unrelated. If you measure OEE across the plant, it doesn't help you in any way. It's a general number which you cannot give you specifics. And the last one, manual data collection. That was what we started with. We are still doing that, but this is slow. But because it is slow, improvement is very difficult. By the time you do an improvement and measure, it is already past. And the second one is integrity. So next, please. So with that, our next focus was actually digital data collection for consistency and for integrity. Next. I will share one more project with you. This is the latest project that we had only in this year. Sorry, only in the second quarter of this year. It's a digital data collection. Next, please. Okay. In this project, our outcome, as you noted, is not OEE, but it's actually production strokes per shift. This is a pilot project for us. So we took a specific machine, and then next, please. We tried to implement a monitoring system. Thank you to MPC and SHRDC and also Iconics. They assisted us in installing an equipment to actually link up, digitize our machine, and then collect data. So this actually propelled us in the first step of IR 4.0, where we talk about IoT, Internet of Things. We digitize our old HP machine. And then following that, we did data acquisition. Connected PLCs to the PLC to start collecting the data. The data can be collected to 500 milliseconds every half a minute. But in the beginning, we started to take data every 10 minutes. From there, we can talk about mining the data, understanding it, looking at the trend, and of course, eventually the text says that we should go into machine learning, deep learning, that will be very, very far away. But we will be satisfied if we can actually mine the data and then improve the process. Next, please. These are some of the examples of the screens that you can get by putting this screen is actually at the machine. So this screens is something that the worker can see. Very visual, with some dials, with colors. Worker will be able to see whether they are green, whether they are red, whether they are super dark red. So this will actually encourage them to work faster if need to. Next, please. For analysis purposes, there are other screens. You can look at the data by 10 minutes. We can see where the fumble is, and we can look back at the record and understand what happened. Next, please. Okay, I think that's the end of my presentation. But I just want to share my experience. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the missteps that we had, the lesson learned that we have. The one most important is OEE is an improvement metric. It's not an outcome or a KPI. Once you move it into a KPI, everyone will take it overly serious, which means that they will be very manipulative with the data. So it works better as an improvement metric. OEE cannot or should not be used in it cannot be used in every single piece of equipment. Most suited for process bottleneck. However, so if it's a process in the process bottleneck, you need to be aware that bottleneck needs to correspond to the tag time, which is your sales demand. So no point having a scenario where you actually overproduce, which is one of the waste. And of course, there is no absolute benchmark. Many people say benchmark of OEE, world class is 95%. But again, 95%, you need to know what industry it's in. It could be in the electronics. It could be in mass production. Mass production, I think 85 is a bit low. But if you are talking about high mix, low volume products, multiple change per day, you need to look at the OEE that is you are most comfortable at, and that can actually give you value and supply to sales. Of course, the last one, of course, is the best to digitally acquire the data. Why? Because first of all, integrity. It's not, sometimes it's more of people key in error and so on because it's manual. But integrity means the data collected is not manipulated in any form. And the other one, of course, being in real time, you can actually position LED boards at the machine to inform the workers, to get their buy-in, to actually work towards the target, rather than find out at the end of the day. Then you start asking 5 why. That will improve the following day, but you've already lost 24 hours. In manufacturing, 24 hours is a lot. Okay. With that, I think I finished my slides. I think from here I will pass on to Shen. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Loong, for the very good presentation and for sharing your experience in your journey towards achieving OEE and also the lean manufacturing. So right now, I would like to welcome the audience to put in your questions in the Q&A section above. Before that, also, I would like to apologize for all the technical difficulties that were there today. I thank you all for your patience. And yes, let's go to the question bar at the moment. So I think the first question would be directed to Dr. Tan. So Dr. Tan, this question to you is that you mentioned a company that managed to improve their productivity earlier. Would you be able to share the company name again? Dr. Tan, you're muted at the moment. Oh. Dr. Tan,
yes, okay.
Okay.
Can you repeat the
Sorry.
question?
Okay. So there was a question to you, which the participant requested for you to repeat the name of the company that you mentioned was able to achieve or improve their productivity during this MCO period, if I'm not mistaken, earlier that you mentioned?
MEI equipment. MEI.
Sorry? Oh, MEI.
MEI equipment. MEI.
MI equipment. Oh, okay. All right.
Yes. Under the EPN MPC EPN webinar.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. No problem. So I hope that answered your question, Witite. And the next question would be in terms from Chao Yi Chong. May I know how much is the installation cost for digital data collection? So maybe Mr. Loong, would you like to share in terms of this question? Because you implemented the digital data collection on your side as well.
Yeah, Chao, thank you for the question. Unfortunately, I will not be able to answer that because for us, the first unit was actually a free of charge unit supported by MPC and SHRDC. Thank you very much again, MPC, for doing that. We are actually one of the guinea pigs, but I think we work very well together with Iconics. Perhaps you can actually connect with MPC and Iconics. They will be able to inform you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, thanks, Mr. Loong. Yeah, Dr. Tan, would you like to add on to this question? In any case, from your side, on your experience?
Price, yeah, maybe I just add on. The price is depend to what the level you are going to implement. Because if let's say you engage the company like Iconics or any SI, right? They need to look at what you want first, your requirement up to what level. Then they can decide what to use, what kind of system, software, hardware to use. Let's say you have your own machine, they need to know about how to retrofit your machine, right? It's a very subjective. It depends the negotiation between you and the SI. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Tan and Mr. Loong. I think this question reflects both on for you. Basically, Patrick Wong asked a question on what is the biggest challenge of implementation, towards OEE that was shared earlier. So, Dr. Tan, would you like to share first?
Okay, the first challenge is the mindset changing. The management, the whole entire company, the mindset, the right mindset, positive mindset is very important. This is the first step. Because let's say for OEE, right, it's about the mindset changing, also the culture changing in the company itself. And because as well as attitude towards this kind of implementation. Let's say any method you could implement or any technology you could implement, the mindset must be right, must be positive. Okay, because let's say you implement OEE, right? Okay, the digitalization of OEE, right? It's not because it's a purely technical or IT project. Okay, also not just a technical investment, because you want something out of it to improve the process. Okay, just like what Mr. Loong said, right? The OEE, right, is to improve the process. So this one must be in the mindset of from the operator, technician, engineer up to the boss. Right? This is the first. I think this is a very important thing to think about, the mindset changing. Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you very much, Dr. Tan. Mr. Loong, how about yourself when you share all your journey, starting from 2014, right? If I'm not mistaken, when you brought in lean manufacturing all the way to today. What is the biggest challenge that you face in terms of implementation?
I think Dr. Tan put it quite well. At the end of the day, OEE measurement, they're all equipment based. The biggest challenge is always the human part. Top management, like what Dr. Tan said, top management has to understand that this is a measure. It is not the KPI. Why? Because if you start indicating that as a KPI, shop floor will very quickly have very quick solutions without going into the root cause. Looking at the symptoms, solve it now and get on with it without going further down. So that is not what we want. We want a continuous improvement process. we want to know what is the root cause, because we want to solve it forever, not for today, not for now. We want to do it as a long term. Only when you get consistent productivity, reliable productivity, and predictable productivity, then only that's where we achieve our goal. So that's on the top management side. Now, once you are successful in that, understanding that time is required to get to the root cause, sometimes you will need some resources. Now we go down to the shop floor. I think Dr. Tan also pointed this out earlier. Data like this is not to pinpoint the worker what they are not doing right. Of course, it is supposed to not doing right, but we need to talk about the next step moving forward. We understand and agree that this is not the right way to do it, but what else can we do? What can we do to improve it? And what can we do to help the worker? So this mindset is important. Worker needs to know that the data is here to help them improve themselves, not to actually tell them their blunders only. Okay, that's, I guess, is my biggest lesson throughout the period. Yeah, thanks.
Yep. Thank you so much, Mr. Loong, for that for that insight. I think that was very good to share that that data is not used to pinpoint failures, but more to support or complement the the manufacturing process. And I think the journey of achieving productivity is a journey together, and it's not a single person's process. So the next question by Ajit Ami is that he shared that thank you very much for the presentation. He would like to understand what is your suggestion for the Malaysian industry, and how does it reflect SHRDC MPC to support the industry growth, given the latest technology around Malaysia's scenario are not fully IR 3.0 to move to the next IR 4.0 with the current COVID-19 economic issue. So what are your thoughts about this, Dr. Tan?
Okay. When we talk about the MCO, right, it really changed a lot of mindset of the SME. Okay, why? Because let's say if you're not under the essential industry, right, you are not allowed to open your business, right? Sorry, open your factory. So no worker can come to your factory to work. Okay, if you are essential industry and allowed by the government under MEPN, right, to operate, right, but you cannot go for the full force. Only 50% of the workforce is allowed to work, right? So this kind of mindset is really changed a lot of a lot of people of the norm. Okay, from here the company just I share about the company, right, called Me Equipment. They use a 50% workforce to achieve the 75 to 78% of productivity by using the innovative solution that implement to the process side. But of course, the detail I don't know how they use it, but they really use an innovative way to implement for SME to implement IR 4.0 whatever technology or method, right? It takes time. It takes time. First of all, every company, especially the owner, the top management, the mindset, as I say again and again, mindset must be changed. Then the top management need to be educated and need to know about what they want. Because the owner know what they want, right? Let's say the owner want to sustain company for 5 or 10 years, then you know what they want in the next 5 years, next 10 years, next 15, 20 years. They need to do a proper way of planning. Okay, the short-term, mid-term, and long-term planning towards sustainability of the company. So Industry 4.0 already launched by government during in 2018. Why government want to push for Industry 4.0, industry forward to all of the industry, especially SME, right? Okay, because government want the local industry to increase, to achieve the higher productivity. Okay, for what purpose? The GDP growth of the country. From there, Malaysia become a hub. Okay, more competitive to others countries. Let's say we not go to the far away, right? Look at ASEAN. We need to be very competitive to Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines. they are coming out very fast. I think right now they overtook the Malaysia. So we need to think that to start the journey, you need to start the journey. Every company, the owner, the boss, top management, need to think about how to start the journey by doing the planning. And normally, what we advise is to start from a small step. Okay, start from a small step. You can engage with SHRDC to upskill, to reskill to your current employee, current staff, right? To understand about the latest technology, how technology can assist the company to improve the company, to improve the productivity. And then maybe you can engage with MPC, MIDA to get some certain grant, okay, to start your journey. Okay, that's why first step, mindset changing. Okay, think about and then do the planning, short-term, mid-term, and long-term planning. I think that's all for my answer. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Tan. How about Mr. Loong? In terms of the current COVID situation, we're all under the MCO period. How does it affect your particular factory? During this period, were you looking at different ideas of innovation? How do you get everyone started again on this MCO period?
Well, to be frank, we started our plant on MCO3 because we are automotive related. So we managed to get our approval to start the plant. MCO1 and MCO2 was the busiest time of my life. I've never had so much planning to do because there were so many scenarios to look at. It was 7 days a week, trust me. We work until 10, 11 o'clock, every day discussing over the new way of new norm of life, going through Skype and so on. But what we do realize is for every depression or in this recession or depression, there are always opportunities. And that is when you relook at the business model to understand what are the needs of the customers. And from then we move on. So for us, we identify a few niches because we are also export. We know that local market of course, there's no cars on the road, there will not be sale. But we do note that some countries, one specific country was recovering fast, China, and their business is recovering, but industry is not picking up fast enough. So from our information, we are able to identify which are the countries which are potential for us to grow our market. So China being one of them. We have areas like in South Africa and even in South America. So by identifying, by knowing your customers, by knowing the business, by knowing the industry, you are able to pick into the niche market. All right, now that was for the business side. Now for manufacturing, similarly, in order to, MCO is a difficult period. When we come in, we only have 50% headcount. So what we are forced into getting more productivity. But how do you do that? First, you always need to know what is the current situation. So that's where I guess digitizing is important. You remember the IR 4.0, we talk about big data, right? What does big data consist of? First, you have to digitize your machine so that you can actually, IoT can digitize machine, start collecting data from that. And once you have data, you have your database, you acquire your data, then you talk about trend analysis and so on. By understanding your own machine and also the environment, you can actually improve well. I think for us, the first 2 weeks, of course, the first week, because of a lot of our preparation work, our first day was not as bad as we expected. After 1 month of not working, we came back. It was reasonably smooth because prior to that, we had people coming in to actually maintain the equipment. In fact, last week, the second week of our work, I think we achieved one of our higher productivity, in this case also OE, comparatively to the previous months. So preparation work would help. Understanding your current situation does help. And by understanding your current situation, because there's less distraction, because sales is not in, only manufacturing is in, we are able to focus and do some improvements.
Yep. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Loong, for that insight. I think this is a very important point. During this period is there are a lot of opportunities to grow, And I think during this period as well, when it's mentioned, I will just touch on how does SHRDC and MPC support the industry growth. During this period, we have been trying very hard to keep engaging with the industries and the community. I think MPC and us, SHRDC, we have been running a lot of webinars. We have been running a lot of support sessions. I think MPC has come up with MEVAC, the Virtual Advisory Committee that was shared with Dr. Tan. So those are opportunities that I think industries should really leverage on to actually get started and to understand how to plan and innovate during this period. And then when you start off, you can kickstart at a very smooth pace, as what Mr. Loong has shared. And I think that's a very good experience. So to move on to the next question, I think this is I'll combine these two questions because it's more people related. To get some experience from both speakers. How do you get personnel to be incentivized, and determined to accomplish the target set? That is one. And the next question is how do I get the right people? Do I need to increase the number of new people? Do I need to hire new, or do I retrain people? But the common perspective or perception is always that people attitudes are hard to control in terms of change. So what are your experiences and feedback to that? Mr. Loong, maybe you want to go first?
Okay, the people part, the most difficult part. Okay. Now, my opinion, the first part is talking about incentivizing the people. My personal opinion and what we practice now is we do not promise incentivization or incentives. The reason is because when the people look at incentives, they work for that particular incentive. So when the incentive goes away, the carrot goes away, the donkey stops moving, right? So most of the time, we don't do that. However, we have small celebrations. Example, KFCs, generic food, and so on, but never incentives. The other thing that we should look and focus more on is to show the worker that we are here to help them make their work easier. Remember, I went on about 5S, having the ergonomics, not having him to reach more than 0.6 meter in front, not having him or her to turn more than 180 degrees, having the things that he uses daily within his workspace, and not him to go next workspace to collect. So here we are promoting that if what we can support you to make your life as a worker, as a supervisor, as a leader easier. So that is how we normally do it from our point of view. Sorry, Shen, I sort of forgot the second part. What was the second part?
Okay. So I think the question was also directed to how do you get the right people, right, to work on new processes? Do you need to hire new people? Are you thinking about reskilling them, upskilling them, or how do you manage? I think it's more towards people management because when you have senior staff, you want them to upskill. That is a question where people are talking about in terms of change, right? And we have to do more. Hello, Mr. Loong?
Yeah, Shen, can you hear me?
Hello?
Sorry, I think it's raining, so the line will be worse. Okay. Our policy here is actually, our policy here is actually to upskill. Okay, our policy is to upskill. I believe in knowing the devil. You already have the worker in place. You already know what are his good and bad habits. It's something that you are already comfortable with. So why not upskill? Why not give him an opportunity to develop himself?
Yeah.
And if he does develop himself, it's already an incentive to him. So I think it's a win-win. But of course, if they are unable to develop themselves, or if they are not willing to develop themselves, of course, the next best thing is to parachute in people. That's how we approach that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Loong. Dr. Tan, do you have anything to share about the people part, in terms of moving forward in terms of digitalization, OEE, and improving productivity? I think you mentioned a lot about mindset, but how, in terms of people management, right? Do you feel that incentivizing them is good to accomplish a target? How do you assign the right people for the right job? And do you look at upskilling, or do you look at talent pipelines?
Yeah, for me, right, just like you and I, the vice president and we, right, we already worked in the industry for many years, right? So you look at ourselves, what we want. Normally, people are looking for what? The room to grow. Okay, room to grow. If I work in this company, is there any room for me to grow myself? Okay, for me to feel something like belonging. You need to make the employee to feel belonging, right? Feel comfortable to work with the company, work with not only the company itself, but of course a human, human to human, the communication between human to human, the top management, how they could interact with the lower tier of the management people, right? And then feel belonging, and then recognition. Yeah, like Mr. Loong said, right? Oh, when we will achieve certain thing, right? Yeah, we all having a small party and then buy a KFC, whatever, to celebrate. Yeah, this is how to really keep the close relationship between the people. Yeah, I think this is a very psychology question. I think for me, right, the room to grow and feel belonging, feel comfortable. Yeah, something that really can retain. Of course, talk about retain the people, right? And then this is very important. If people want to think about, if a company offer me 200 ringgit, I will go to that company. Then it means that there's something about the company HR policy or whatever. Also, we need to look at the root cause. And then for the upskilling, reskilling, right? Yes, like what Mr. Loong said is correct. Look at your current employee now. Okay, try to upskill and reskill them. Okay, to follow the what company branding is very important. So that when they go for upskilling, reskilling, right? Also they're much more. They feel that there's something to grow, right? For them to grow to next level. Okay, and then company maybe have some remuneration package or certain package for them when they go for a certain higher level. This is my answer. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Tan and Mr. Loong. I think that's a very important point or opinion in terms of upskilling our workforce and really understanding that the people that you have are actually assets of the company. They are the ones that will help you to really grow and to maintain a sustainable ecosystem. And probably I'll just add on to that is that people upskilling and change, right? That's actually a very important, essential skill that I would say, which is what we share as well in SHRDC. We are a talent development center, and we try to support the industries and the community in terms of upskilling of workforce, preparing your talents, not just technically, but also in the essential skills. Like today, you hear Dr. Tan and Mr. Loong talk a lot about mindset change, culture, and that's essentially what we do as well. We try to help you and your company to really grow in this space, and that's what the Malaysian Smart Factory is developed for, actually. So before we end our session today, I think there's no longer any questions. So maybe Mr. Loong and Dr. Tan, would you like to share some of your key takeaways for today before we end the session?
Maybe Mr. Loong first. Mr. Loong first.
Yeah. Mr. Loong, would you like to share some of your key takeaways for today? Hello, Mr. Loong.
Maybe
yeah, Dr. Tan, go ahead.
Of course, I think of course I will talk about mindset changing. Okay, why you need a changing of mindset? Because you need to prepare for it. Just how Mr. Loong will say that during MCO they already prepare for certain things, right? Preparation is very important, and then top management must sit down together, all together, to think about what's next. Okay, do the planning. Okay, short-term, mid-term, and long-term planning, okay, and foresee what will happen in the future, and then try to build a right culture and right mindset among the within the company itself. Not only the company itself, but also within the company and the supplier. Okay, because it's a supply chain, right? Very important, the right mindset, right culture among the ecosystem itself. I think this is what I want to share. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Tan. Mr. Loong,
Yeah.
how about your
I think Dr. Tan put it very well. Yep, it's good. It's a mindset to change. But I actually do like Dr. Tan's one of his, I think his last slide, saying that start the journey. You know, you have to take a step forward. It was very difficult to actually convince top management to actually move into IR 4.0 because it's all about resources. It's all about buying hardware and so on. But you need to start off with a pilot project, get yourself used to it, solve all the problems, and then you can yokoten. In Japanese, that's what I mean by duplicate it to the rest of the processes. Make your first step. Take a calculated risk. Do the necessary planning, of course. Take the calculated risk and move the first step. Only when you are in motion, then only you will get the momentum. Without motion, there's no momentum forward. So I would like to encourage all of them. I think IR 4.0 is heavily promoted, and I think it's rightfully heavily promoted because that is the way forward. You look at MCO 4 or MCO in general. That taught us a new way of living, a new way of working. It's the new norm. If you don't move forward, you will be left behind. So
yes.
My proposal to all the attendees and everyone listening, move ahead, take one small step. It's okay, but it's a small step forward. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Loong and Dr. Tan. I think those are very insightful words and very inspiring words as well, you know, for everyone to really think about, you know, the mindset change. And I think OE, as much technical as it sounds, it really requires a whole team, you know, to really work on it and to change. And of course, in terms of this period, you know, when you have downtime period, I think this is a good time to rethink and re-innovate and replan, you know, the way forward for you. And I think that kind of planning stages would really help all of us to really grow in a much faster pace during these difficult times. So before I end the session, I would like to thank the speakers, Dr. Tan and Mr. Loong, for their very inspiring session today. I hope everybody that attended today really had a good time. Thank you very much for coming on a public holiday, and very sorry for all the technical difficulties that were faced today. This session is recorded, so therefore you will receive a recording of this session along with the slides as well. And so before I end the session, please do keep in touch with us. Dr. Tan and Mr. Loong, they are here to also support you, and as well as us at SHRDC and MPC, we are also always here to support everybody during these difficult times. So with that, thank you very much for everybody for attending today. Hope to see you all soon, virtually or physically. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Start your journey.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Tan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Stay safe.
All right.
Stay safe.
Thank you.